What is the difference between a ship and a boat? Yes, Joe.
Has a ship got curtains?
Just about the oddest answer I've ever heard to any question.
No.
A ship may have curtains, but so may a boat.
Ships are bigger.
Well.
They are bigger. Ships have lifeboats. Boats don't have lifeboats. They're already a boat.
Well, we're talking Navy here. We're talking Navy. In the Navy, a ship is any vessel which is...
Named.
No. Surface. I.e. ships, frigates, destroyers, anything like that. Except little dinghies and lifeboats, which are boats, I grant you.
So a boat is a
But
submarine.
A boat is a submarine. And some submarines are bigger than 3 frigates put together.
So what's the difference? I'm afraid I
A boat is a submarine.
Submarine goes underwater.
Sorry, Stephen.
like
Well, no, it doesn't.
Ship goes on the surface.
A rowing boat, is that a ship then?
They don't have them in the Navy. Shit. Stephen, they don't have rowing boats in the Navy, do they?
They might have oars on a lifeboat, which is a boat, I grant you. But there's not a vessel of the line.
Is it a rowing ship then?
It's in the Navy, yes, it is. It's a rowing ship.
So the only boats in the Navy are submarines?
Yes.
That's complete bollocks.
It's true. The only vessels of the line that are called a boat are submarines in the Navy.
I fail to agree.
That's right. I'll tell you something else. There's not 2 moons.
A ship. In German, there's das Schiff and there's das Boot. I don't know which
That's
is which.
Boot.
It's spelled with 2 O's, but pronounced boat. But
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It's pronounced boot.
It's not pronounced boat,
Yes,
unless you're
it
from
is.
Newcastle.
Now, let's head to foreign parts. Can you tell me what's wrong with this boat?
Well, it's not in the water.
It's not boat-shaped.
It's not boat-shaped, it's exactly right. It is called a Popovka, and they were circular battleships. Only 2 were ever made. They were made in Russia in the late 19th century. So there was a Russian vice admiral called Andrei Popov, and he thought it was a marvellous idea to have a round ship because it could deflect shells, it would require less armour, and he got the idea from a Scottish shipbuilder called John Elder, and he thought that circular hulls would offer greater level of displacement of the water so you could have a greater ratio of guns and so on. So why did it not work? What do you suppose was the
Did
reason?
it go round in circles?
It just went round in circles. So the minute you fire a gun, the boat went, whoa!
So you have to fire in all directions equally.
Yes, you'd have to fire at everything all at the same
therefore,
time.
If you're totally surrounded,
Yeah.
it's really useful.
Yeah, you'd have to be right in the middle
But
of
if
the
you've got
enemy.
your guys behind you, they're
Yeah.
screwed.
One of them was called the Novgorod, and it got stuck in an eddy in the river Dnieper and spun round and round, making everybody incredibly sick before it was swept out to sea. Yeah.
And that's the thing with the whole thing with naval stuff is the kind of the starboard, the directions. You don't have that either.
Yeah, and the other thing is heat as well, because it concentrated all the heat inwards. It made the decks incredibly hot. There was so much water resistance, because it's not cutting through the water, that they could hardly make any speed at all. So for the Russia-Turkish War, 1877-1878, the ships were anchored on the shore in order to not make them spin
What they
round.
should have done was twin hulls. You could have a circular top.
Yes, you could, as long as you
need
were
a
able to...
catamaran.
Yeah, with a catamaran thing underneath, you're absolutely right.
I've got a degree in marine engineering.
It's too late to try and impress me, Alan.
Anyway, describe the rules on a pirate ship. Rules? Yeah. What sort of rules would they have?
Obviously, they've got a captain.
Yes.
So he's in charge. So I imagine he gets most of the gold and whatever they find.
Well, oddly enough, now, they had 2 senior officers, the captain and the quartermaster. And the captain could be vetoed by the quartermaster on all matters except battle, except rules of engagement when fighting. And they had strong laws. And the quartermaster was, he was about how much they divvied out, including he decided how much the captain got. The captain had no special quarters. He didn't have a wonderful room such as you imagine in movies. So it's not exactly hierarchical. It's kind of a rule of two, the quartermaster and the captain. Otherwise, it was more or less a democracy in a strange sort of way, but with strict rules. For example, in Captain Bartholomew Roberts' ship, the Fortune, there was no gambling. It was like a boarding school. No smuggling girls into the dorm. No playing music on a Sunday. And lights out at 8 o'clock sharp in the evening.
Rubbish being a pirate.
I know! It's not quite what you imagine.
My dad, the captain. That's rubbish.
But
Where are you
also...
going to smuggle these girls from, anyway?
That's true.
Why is the pirate voice similar to the farmer's voice? Why? Is there something... Arr! Get off my land! There's
one man responsible.
Right.
Do you know who it is?
It'll be a film actor.
Yes.
Oh, OK.
In Treasure Island.
He played in a great performance of Treasure Island. And in fact, Tony Hancock, the great comedian, he first started out as an impersonator of this actor.
Lawton.
No, not quite as well known as Lawton. In his own day, he was very, very well known, but now less well known.
Anybody?
Someone we've mentioned on QI before.
Hang on a minute.
The chances of Alan
getting
remembering it.
Someone in the front row saying, you've done this. This was on Dave on Tuesday. New facts.
Yeah, well, it was Robert Newton, anyway.
Robert Newton.
Thank you, yes.
Robert Newton.
Robert Newton is the right answer, but it doesn't count because we've had it before. There we
David
are.
Prowse almost did that, didn't he, to Darth Vader? He has a West Country accent, didn't he?
Yes,
and
he
he
did.
famously thought that he was going to be you didn't he?
Yes.
With his West Country accent, he got redone
I am
by
your
James Earl
father.
Jones. Very upset.
I'm your father, and I'm your brother as well.
Darth Vader on a big tractor. Trundling down the corridors of the Death Star, chewing a bit of straw. Darth. Mr. Darth to you.
Mr. Darth. Yes, good. So the cry goes up, abandoned ship now. That's our next question. Abandoned ship. Now, we're proud Britons and one proud Kiwi. What do we say next? What do we chaps say?
No, women and children first.
Wow. So far as we know, that's only ever been cried twice. It's called the Birkenhead drill, and it happened on board a ship called the Birkenhead, but that was because the captain pointed a gun at his crew and said, women and children first. This has not been an idea that had especially existed before, and in fact, it's very un-British. Women have a lesser chance of surviving if a British ship sinks than a continental one.
That's good to know.
Yep. So we aren't the gallant creatures that we thought we were, at all. The Titanic was the other one in which the men were told to stand back. And there was, we've had this on QI before, there was one crew member who survived, went all the way home to Liverpool, and he had the door slammed in his face by his mother, who was ashamed of him for having survived. But in fact, more...
Sounds nice.
Yeah, charming, isn't it? Really extraordinary. Well, I mean, unbelievable. But obviously, you want a fair number of fit, strong people who know their way around the waters, as it were, once you're in the lifeboat. Because if it's all women and children, there's not really going to be that much necessarily use in being in the lifeboat.
Steve.
You need at least one crew member who can navigate by the stars or who can operate the oars efficiently.
Or isn't going, oh, look, there's a fish over there, let's go over there.
Yes, I wasn't going to be the one to say that. I'm glad you did.
How might the CIA win the Cold War with this? OK, so I've got one for each of you. You should have one sitting there.
Yes.
So
we do have
it is like the old arcade game. So one of you presses the things to try and fox the other. That's it. And one of you has to grab. There's no point just... That's it. Grab the thing. Oh, Bill, very good. Have you got that? Yeah.
I have to do that. I'm not doing it. I'm not
Keep going. Keep harder. That's it.
Are you regretting giving us these?
I am now, yes. So...
It's not like Kazakh lottery or something.
No, it's not through the lottery. What other bits of the game might you use if it wasn't the balls for the lottery?
The grabber.
The grabber, yes. So the CIA, what would they use it for?
Grabbing the balls of the spine. Yes.
Torture.
Yeah, no, it's not that at all. We're going to head to an O area. We're going to go to oceanography.
Oceanography.
OK, and using it...
Getting submarines.
Yes! Yes! No! Yes! Absolutely right! Yes! That is absolutely right. The CIA used the biggest claw grab ever constructed to get hold of a Soviet strategic ballistic missile submarine which had sunk in the Pacific. So, 1968, they began Project Azorian, and the aim was to recover the Soviet sub, K-129, and they got a ship called the Hughes Glomar Explorer. And from the outside, it looked just like any other ship, but in the middle, the major portion of the hull could be opened up underwater to reveal a vast...
Oh, my God.
It really is like a movie. Look at that.
Wow.
To reveal a vast internal... they called it a moon pool.
Does the boat not sink at that point?
Apparently not. And they put down the largest, so exactly like you've got in the game, the largest grabbing claw.
Like one of these?
Yep. Nicknamed Clementine. And they put it right over the wreck. But what always happens in these arcade games when you grab something?
There's no grip.
Yeah.
Then it's immediately released and you get the bunny you didn't want.
Yes, that is exactly what happened.
They got a bunny.
Well, an underwater rabbit.
Oh, thank God. I thought no one was going to come.
I thought you were going to say that nobody on the boat had any change.
Yeah.
They were like...
No, halfway up, they dropped it. 2/3 of it actually broke away. So they did manage to get a third of it, which fortunately had 2 nuclear torpedoes on it and a cheap watch.
They nearly dropped those then. That would have been...
That would have been bad.
But when,
Yeah.
where was this then?
In the North Pacific.
Wait a minute, is this true?
Yes, it's absolutely true. Happened
Yes.
in 1968. Yes.
This is an amazing show.
And then there was another experiment where they had these nuclear silos and they kept popping. They didn't know which missile that the silo was going to come out of. So they got a giant hammer and they just try to whack it. And it's called Whack-a-Nuke.
Thank you for watching. Do remember to subscribe to the QI channel and click here to watch more videos. Well, please, come on, pick something.